Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, Prince Automation Destination. This is Prince. I hope you are doing well. So today we are going to talk about something interesting in GitHub Copilot, that is custom chat mode. And using this particular custom chat mode, today we are going to transform our source of information in the form of chatbot. So as a result, what will happen is we will be able to query this particular information source from the GitHub Copilot, that too in natural language. So let us move further and discuss about what is GitHub Copilot. So GitHub Copilot is AI coding assistant which offers three built-in modes: ask mode, edit mode, and agent mode. Ask is like a chat mode where we can ask it some general purpose questions as well as technological problems like what is going to be the output of this particular program, what is class, what is interface, what is Java, and many other questions we can ask in this particular ask mode, and it will generate the output. Edit is like when we want to edit a particular file. And then comes agent mode, which is the powerful mode of GitHub Copilot, by which we can scan the entire framework. We can understand the framework with the help of agent mode. We can create a file, edit a file, update a file, delete file. Also, it can run the command into the terminal. So that make it more powerful mode of GitHub Copilot. Apart from built-in modes, it offers custom flexibility where we can create a custom chat mode depending on our unique workflows and requirements. So custom chat mode is like a specialized AI assistant. Built-in modes, we can say general purpose assistant, and custom chat mode, we can call it like specialized assistant, AI assistant, because we are going to create this mode for a specific workflow, right? Now, why custom chat? So whenever we want to talk to any AI tool, we need to provide some set of instructions. We need to instruct that please read this file, create this file, and many other tools, many other things. So whenever we are saying that read this file, we are going to use the GitHub Copilot read functionality. And when we are saying that create a file, so we are going to use create file functionality of GitHub Copilot. So these functionalities are nothing but tools of GitHub Copilot. So whenever we want to talk to any AI tool, we need to instruct it. So with custom chat mode, what we need to do is we can specify these instructions in one file. So whenever we switch to that mode, it will always point to that instruction, and based on that instruction, it will process the output. So this is the benefit of custom chat mode. Don't worry about it if you are not able to understand. We will soon discuss on practical demonstration. Now let us talk about the anatomy of custom chat mode. Whenever we create a custom chat mode, we create a .chatmode.md extension file where we specify the instructions. So the first part that we define is description, where we mention like what this particular mode is going to do. We need to specify the tools. So these are the GitHub Copilot tools. Suppose we want to read a particular file, we want to fetch something from internet. So we need to specify all those tools. Model is large language model. So this is the core of any AI tool. So we need to specify LLM as well, depending on the type of operation that we are expecting from this particular mode. So for example, GPT-4o, that is good at creating test cases. Claude Sonnet models, they are good at coding. So if we are going to create a mode where we want to do some coding, so we will be providing Claude Sonnet. And if we have something related to documentation, then we'll be switching to GPT-4, right? Then we need to specify the instructions, like what exactly this particular mod is going to do. And we need to specify the response guidelines as well. So based on those response guidelines, it is going to give the output as well, right? Now, these are some of the real world examples of custom chat mode, meaning what we can create as part of custom chat mode. So we can create a bug fixing assistant. We can do order refactoring. We can convert our source of information in the form of smart chatbot, which we are going to talk about today. And then we can create a mode where we can ask it to create a documentation from the source code, right? So these are the custom chat mode real world examples, but there could be many more. So depending on your need, you can create your own mode, right? Now, how to create it? Though we are going to jump onto the practical demonstration, but let us go through the theoretical understanding. So we'll be going to GitHub Copilot in the chat view. We'll be clicking on configure chat modes, and we'll be creating a new chat. Here it will ask us to create a markdown template where we need to specify the description, tools that we are going to use, and detailed instructions for the AI behavior, right? So we can further enhance it as well, the chat modes with tools. So if we are aware that this particular mode need a read tool or write tool. So we can specify those tools to enhance the functionality of a particular custom chat mode. Also, we can specify the models. So some models are good at coding, some models are good at documentation. So depending on the need, we can point to that particular large language model, right? So what is the benefit? So for example, we have interactive documentation, right? So we can turn that documentation in the form of chatbot. So we don't need to go to that particular documentation again and again. Instead, we will be asking it directly from the GitHub Copilot, and GitHub Copilot will respond by fetching the information from that particular source of truth, right? It will be giving the consistent responses because we are giving the explicit instructions. So every time it will be pointing to the same instructions and it will be pointing to the same context. So we can expect that the responses are going to be consistent, though the responses in any AI tool are not going to be same, but we can expect with this particular mode, because we are giving the same set of instructions, we can expect a consistent response. So we can create a role specific assistant as well. For example, we can create a mode, act like a quality architect, act as a lead automation engineer, and based on that, we can ask it to generate specific artifacts, right? Now, if we are ready to build our custom chat mode, what we need to do, we need to identify the requirement. You need to encode your knowledge in the form of that particular mode, and then we can share it with the team. And this way, we'll be able to boost the productivity. So now let us jump onto the practical demonstration. For that purpose, I have opened Visual Studio Code because this particular custom chat mode is available in Visual Studio Code as of today. So what I've done is I have created a folder and added that as a workspace. So you can also do like the same. So you need to click on File, click on Add Folder to the workspace, and whatever the blank folder that you have created, you need to select that and click on Add. And as a result, you will start seeing your workspace here, right? Or you can add your project as well in case you want to use it within the project. After that, you need to install Copilot extension. In my case, it is already installed. So you can say that it is installed, and I can uninstall as well, right? But as we are going to use it, so let us keep it, right? Now, what we need to do, once we have installed this particular GitHub Copilot, then we need to click on this particular toggle chat, right? And as soon as we click on this particular toggle chat, we will start seeing GitHub Copilot interface. In case you haven't already linked your GitHub account with GitHub Copilot, you won't be able to use. So this is the prerequisite to use GitHub Copilot, right? So first you need to log in to your GitHub account in order to use GitHub Copilot. In my case, it is already linked. That's why I'm able to see this particular chat interface. So as we discussed that GitHub Copilot offers 3 built-in tools or built-in modes, we can say. So if I, for example, in ask mode, ask it what is interface, right? So it is going to give the output. So how it is going to generate this output? It is going to generate the output based on this particular large language model, which is trained on some wide set of data, right? So based on this particular Claude, Sonnet, or different LLMs, it is generating this particular output. So whatever the model is selected, based on that particular model, it is going to generate this particular output, right? So this is ask mode. Similarly, we can utilize edit mode. By using edit mode, we can edit a particular file of this particular framework. So we'll have to add that file as a context, and then we can modify that file. But we are not going to talk about all this. For GitHub Copilot, I'm going to start a brand new series where I'm going to talk about from the scratch, starting from setting up GitHub Copilot and everything about GitHub Copilot. So now let us talk about agent mode. So agent mode is which is like scanning the entire framework. It can create a file, read the file, edit a file, delete a file. Agent mode I have already covered. You can check out the same in iIcon. I'll be sharing the link of same. Now talking about the main topic of today's discussion, that is custom chat mode. For that purpose, we need to click on this particular chat, right? And then you need to click on configure modes. Then we need to click on create new custom chat mode file. And here we need to select this particular option, .github/chat modes. Now we need to point or provide the name. So let us say we are going to create a chatbot of Playwright documentation, because Playwright documentation is quite rich. So let us create the chatbot of Playwright documentation, right? So let us give it some name. Playwright chatbot to generate the output, or you can give some relevant name, right? Now we need to use tools, right? Because Playwright documentation is available over the internet. So let us go to Playwright documentation. So this is Playwright documentation. So we can click or use this particular URL, right? And in order to access this particular URL, we can use fetch tool of GitHub Copilot. Let me click on configure tool, and here you will see fetch tool, right? Let me click on OK, and then this particular fetch will be populated here. Also, we can now provide the model as well. But in case you don't provide the model, so whatever the model is appearing here, it is going to use that particular model. But let us provide it. Let us provide the same model, right? So for example, whatever is appearing here, we are going to see the same model, right? Claude Sonnet 3.5 Copilot, right? Now here we can define, right? Because we are going to give the input. So we can say understand the user input, and based on that, go to Playwright documentation available on this particular URL and generate the output. Share sample examples as, right? So here what we are going to do, so we will start seeing this particular mode now, right? Once it is created, so as soon as we will switch to this particular Playwright, it will start pointing to these particular instructions, right? So every time I'm going to ask something to it, it will be pointing or using this particular instructions, and based on this, it is going to talk to this particular URL and will be fetching the information. And for that purpose, it is going to use this particular fetch tool. So let us ask, what is Playwright? Okay. So now it is going to ask us that I want to go to this particular URL. Please allow me the same. So it is using fetched this, right? Okay. So it went to this particular URL, right? And based on this particular URL information, it is giving this particular information. And at last, it is sharing the examples as well. So you see, it is sharing the example. So what all locators Playwright support? So again, it used fetch tool of GitHub Copilot and going to locators page, and based on the documentation available, it is giving the locator strategy which Playwright support. So this is how we can convert the rich source of information in the form of smart chatbot, and we can utilize LLM as well as GitHub Copilot to fetch this particular information, right? So this is how we can convert a source of information in the chatbot, and this is what I wanted to cover. And thank you for watching. I would request you to please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you once again.